Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Parlay Revival. Have you ever heard of blisters and just how destructive they can be on a fiberglass boat? Well, that's exactly what we are dealing with, as we remove meters and meters of blister damaged fiberglass and now have to rebuild both hulls along the entire center lines before she can go back in the water.
We're going to build up the keel just a little bit. It's just the final touch to get it straight.
We get some really good progress done this week though, as the hulls slowly start to take shape again. And we even get a special visitor come put on a sperm suit with us.
Colorful.
Okay, we're going to attempt the bow repair. As you can see, this is down to the last layer of fiberglass there. So we're going to build this up. So over here there's going to be 20 layers of glass. This is the bulldozer end of the boat. This is damage from hitting that log. So we're going to build it up even stronger than it was. We're just going to fair it pretty much from a straight line down from up there. So we're actually putting a lot more fiberglass onto this bow than was originally there. We're going with polyester because, as you know, above the waterline we've got to put gel coat on top of that and fair this out and spray it. We're doing this big bow repair here, and then we're going to link our existing epoxy, add more layers of epoxy right up here up to the waterline to give it even more strength. So it's polyester, epoxy, then we're going to link this epoxy from back here all the way up to here. She's going to be strong. We had a plastic enclosure here and the dehumidifier just drying out this entire bow. It's bone dry. This is where that water came out of. And yeah, there's no moisture in there at all. So she's good to go. Let's roll a time lapse.
Okay, so as usual, we fill all of the little imperfections and voids with thickened resin so that we don't get any air bubbles in our work. Then we wet the area out and start laying up the glass, starting with the smaller pieces first. I actually had an interesting conversation with a guy this week who was adamant that you're meant to lay on the big pieces first, then work your way down to the smaller pieces. I personally think it makes more sense to start with the smaller ones, but he did have quite a compelling argument and 30 years of experience. I would love to read any comments from any of you who have experience with this, as I'm now actually on the fence about which way is better. However, he did mention that as we tend to over-engineer everything we do anyway, that either way would be totally fine. But I do think it's an interesting discussion nonetheless. Which way do you guys do it? The next morning I ground down the area that was to be overlapped with epoxy and started measuring up the glass. Again, the reason we are changing between the resins is that we don't want to put gel coat over epoxy because the argument is that gel coat will not bond as well to epoxy. However, there is also an argument against this, so it's hard to decipher between hard facts and old wives' tales these days. But anyway, just to be safe, anywhere we're gel coating, we're using polyester underneath. Anywhere below the waterline that gets no gel coat is done in epoxy, which is waterproof, unlike polyester resins and gel coats. While we were at it, we glassed all down the keel, which had blisters and moisture all along the bottom 1 foot or so of the keel. We had ground out about 3 layers of glass to remove all the damage, so replaced it with 4 layers of biax glass and epoxy resin on both sides. It felt really good to be rebuilding the hulls back to their former glory and actually seeing some progress. But there's still a long way to go.
Morning guys, thought it was time for an update. We've lost one of the greatest workers we've ever had. His name's Azim. He works for Yacht Supply Malaysia here. And he was in a really bad scooter accident and he's broken this bone. So he is out of action, which is a real shame. We've still got Wok on the job and we're getting someone to replace him, but he's just been an absolute machine doing just grinding and taking care of all of this stuff. This stuff that Total Boat sent us is called 1708. So it's 17 ounce biaxial glass. On the back there's a backing mat which is 0.8 of an ounce, and together that forms the strongest fiberglass combo that you can really get. But we quickly ran out of that stuff. All we can get here is biaxial glass, but it doesn't have the backing on it. Chop strand mat that we get here has got a binder in it, so it sort of glues it together, and it makes it really good for polyester because there's a styrene in here that breaks that down.
But with epoxy, it just makes it really hard to work with. But from now on, we're gonna stick to just using Biax because it's just so much easier to work with and is designed more for epoxy. So that's a little update on that. If you are gonna be using epoxy, try to avoid chop strand mat or CSM that's got a binder in it because that's really designed for polyester resin. So from now on, you're basically just gonna see us using Biax where we are epoxying. We're just gonna have to use more because this is obviously thinner than that combination. So if we wanna build up the layers of glass to the existing level, we're gonna have to layer more glass on there, which is, you know, makes life a bit harder, but it is what it is. We can't get everything we need here. Okay, so where we're at here is ready to glass this. We've taken off about 3 layers of fiberglass off the bottom of the boat here. This whole center line, as you guys know, or if you've just tuned in, this is where the damaged fiberglass was. And during the resin infusion process, it looked like that was bad, but everything from here on up is fine. No blisters, it's perfectly dry, and we're ready to taper it into that existing stuff. So we're replacing all of this glass with biaxial glass and epoxy combo. So again, stronger than the original. If you guys saw previous episodes, you could clearly see the difference in the layups from here upwards and the center line. It was just night and day. Even some of it wasn't wet or moist. We decided to get rid of all of that shitty glass, and we're starting from scratch. This is a good, solid, dry layer of glass to rebuild that hull. No reason to wait because it's already dry. There's nothing to wait for. You can see up along this edge of this, whatever was laid up here, there's this core mat stuff and glass with it, but there's just this line of where the resin didn't quite meet. I'm assuming that's between different infusion processes, but yeah, we're gonna put filler in those before we glass just to make sure there's no voids. But yeah, this is looking like really good glass to rebuild the hull here. It's nice and quiet today because everyone takes a Friday off here in Malaysia, so there's no one grinding in the background. It's a good time to do some filming. Okay, here's our bow repair, which I'm super happy with. By some miracle, that one layup that we did there has ended up being almost perfectly in line with the original hull. So we've scuffed it back. There's one little low spot here. We'll throw a bit of glass in there. But over the top of this is going to be some polyester fairing compound. This below the waterline is going to get epoxy fairing. And we don't have to be so fussy about fairing that out because it's going to get loads of barrier coat and anti-foul on top of that. So fairly forgiving, whereas up here has to be completely smooth so that we can spray the gel coat over that. Speaking of epoxy fairing, we're at the stage now where we can start putting some fairing on this sort of stuff. This is a repair that we did a while ago. It's been glassed with epoxy. It's almost dead flat. That was Aziza again, doing such a good job with that grinder there. But just to make it perfect, we're gonna put a layer of epoxy fairing over that, just a thin layer. And on top of that is gonna go the barrier coat. The boys sanded all the anti-foul off, and the grey and the white here you see is old epoxy barrier coat, so we're gonna leave that there, and we're building up on top of that with new total boat barrier coat. And then places like this is an epoxy repair with epoxy fairing over it, which is gonna get barrier coat over it. There's no water ever gonna get back in there again. So the first step is to wipe it down with the acetone. We could just use this stuff, which you just mix A and B together equally, and it creates your epoxy fairing compound. But we've only got a little bit of that, so we have to make our own. No big deal. They have sent us a selection of fillers here. So first you mix up your part A and B of the epoxy, and then you can put whatever fillers you want in there. For that one I just showed you, it's below the water line. We want it pretty strong, so we're going to use the silica thickener. So that's going to be stronger than the micro balloons. And just for shits and giggles, we're going to mix in a little bit of milled glass fiber in there as well. This is literally fiberglass that's been milled, and it'll just make this really strong epoxy paste. And we smear a thin layer of that on, give it a quick sand, and then that'll be ready for the barrier coat. Above the water line, we've got a choice of the fairing compound, which is really nice and light, good for sanding. But where the repair goes from above the waterline to below the waterline, and it's all polyester, we're going to use some of the structural repair putty. This has got fiberglass in it. So it's all about just trying to make it the strongest we possibly can without making the boat weigh 18 tons. By the way, as you guys know, we are partners with Total Boat. They've saved our ass this time. But they're offering you guys 5% if you guys want to use the link below and get some of your own Total Boat products. Okay, let's roll the time lapse and get those 2 spots filled. So we always mix parts A and B of the resin first to make sure that the hardener has completely mixed into the resin. But then you do have a bit of a race against the clock to throw in the filler material and get that consistency that you're after before smearing it all over the hull. Obviously, the nicer you spread it, the less sanding you have to do. So just need to sand down those spatula lines that I couldn't get out basically, and then that'll be done, ready for barrier coat. Morning guys. This morning we are going to get this piece done. It's probably one of our more challenging ones. It's really big sheets of glass and basically overhanging the whole way. The other stuff we've done is come up the side of the hull a bit more to let that cloth sort of have something to grab onto, but this is all overhanging, so hopefully the whole thing doesn't fall down on us. We got the spec sheet, so that new biax glass we got is 14.5 ounce, so it's a bit less glass than the 1708. So we are going to put an extra layer on. So we were going to do 3 layers of 1708, but we're going to do 4 layers of 14.5 gram biax, and then carry on. Hopefully we get it done from here all the way up to our existing repair on the bow. So this will be a huge chunk of the work bitten off right now. Fingers crossed. Joes!
We made it.
You made it! Okay, we'll see you soon.
Alright, sounds good.
The chosen one's coming. We're gonna go pick him up from the airport. He crossed the Pacific with us. He's like an uncle to us now. So he comes every year, and he, for some crazy reason, wants to come while we're grinding fiberglass. A lot of people have wanted to come and help us, but it's just so hard to manage that many people and all these grinders and dust everywhere. But Chosen's just, he knows his limits, and he's just a really, really helpful guy to have around. So I think he's a glutton for punishment. I originally told him that we'd be here for another couple of weeks, but I don't think that's the case. But hopefully we splash and get to take him to Phuket with us so he can see something other than the shipyard. But he's staying at the resort here because we just can't let him live in this mess that we're living in with fiberglass everywhere. Let's go pick up Chose.
Spotted. Chose!
Chose!
How are you?
Long time.
This is for Elena.
Aww. You met my parents.
Whatever night it was before I left.
Jet lag?
Oh, I've slept an hour since Saturday morning.
Oh my god.
How cold is it in Canada right now?
And cold, like, oh.
Like minus 30.
Yeah, so this is perfect timing.
What are you doing here? Surprise.
Cheers, Joe.
Cheers.
First tiger, let me know what you think.
It's good. It has a little aftertaste to it.
So with all the reunions done, we headed back out to Rebuck Island Marina. It's a short 6-minute ferry that runs back and forth all day for free, which has been super handy with us not having to put the dinghy in the water. The marina is actually part of the resort, and we get to use all of the facilities here as well.
Enjoy your stay. Thank you.
What time was happy hour?
From 5 to 8. Okay, and then 9 to 10.
We've never actually seen what the rooms here look like, so we were keen to check them out for ourselves.
Hey, not bad, Chase.
Wow,
Oh, what?
this is nice.
I got a bath. This'll do, ain't it?
What?
But there was still one person Chose had yet to catch up with, who was covered in fiberglass.
Nah, don't touch me. Nah, wet.
Give him some of that glass. Go on.
Sun looks a lot better now than it did a week ago. Solid. More solid than when I was new, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And as usual, anyone flying to Parlay usually ends up muling in some parts for the boat which are hard to get in these areas.
Sail drive, clutch kit. Forgot I ordered this.
And these
hose. Massage set. I swear I didn't order that. Oh, these are for the hatches. Stuff.
They're calling you Mary Poppins.
The next morning, Chose wanted to be put straight to work, but not without his new uniform.
You're gonna need this. Even just walking around, your legs are gonna get covered.
Probably have to cut 2 feet off the legs.
Nah. You know the local boys think you're the boss. You got your pair of ear muffs. This is for when the grinders are going flat out. Going for a fly.
Colorful. Ready for action.
Okay, we're about to do from this transom right up to the rudder there. We're going to build up the keel just a little bit. It's just the final touch to get it straight, but it's strong already. So everything we put onto that keel now is just extra strength, but it's more for just filling some of the low spots. And that'll be this starboard side glassed, except for this one hole here, which is still just slightly damp on the meter. So it's been drying out for a month. Might leave it for another couple of weeks. We could glass it now, but we just want to bring it down in moisture level. So we'll save that one for later. This is right on the edge of that glass line that we've been working with. Where we've got good glass down to here and then bad glass from there. It's just reading a little bit moist around this core mat area. We could grind it out and get all that moist stuff out, but we're down to one layer of glass here. It's the engine room, the rudder's right there, sail drive's there, engine's here. So this is a big void in there. That's the bulkhead, and they've got this is like an engine room tray, like where the engine bed is. It's just glued down onto the inside of the hull. So we're down to that layer. So this is quite a big repair, but again, we're just going to wait till that's a little bit drier before we do that. Once we get that glass on there, then the keel will be done glass-wise, and we can, we've already ground that back, but we can grind that and start filling it and fairing it with epoxy. This is up to the stage where we are fairing now, so that green stuff is the first layer of epoxy fairing. The guys scuff that back. It'll only need one more just to fill these low spots because we're perfectionists. But you could probably just roll barrier coat straight over that and then anti-foul and you wouldn't notice. And then this is where we're at with the port bow. Starboard bow's done with the glass now. So it's going to be fairing, and that's above the waterline, so we've got to make that look pretty. This, we've caught it right below the waterline, so this is all epoxy and doesn't have to look super pretty. Going to be glassing it right back to there. So this is going to get 4 layers of glass. This whole area that you saw us glass a couple days ago is excellent. No bubbles, 4 layers of biaxial glass and epoxy. So yeah, just taking care of this stuff once and for all. But as you can see here, that distinct line that I was telling you about is here. Everything up above that is perfectly okay, no blisters, no moisture. But that one line inwards, we had to tear all of that fiberglass out from bow to stern, both hulls.
So the 5 of us started cutting and dry fitting the huge overhead pieces of fiberglass that were going to rebuild the starboard sugar scoops, right up past the sail drives, up to the hole in the engine room. Just having that one extra person and Cho's mixing the resin for us made a huge difference, as the rest of us could focus on getting the big sheets of glass to stick to the hull above us. We then filled some of the low spots along the keel that I told you about, as well as the port side bow, which was now dry after having water inside it for who knows how many years. After that, I moved over to the other bow and did the first bit of fairing above the waterline that we needed to do. This stuff doesn't come with any air drying agents inside it, so I added some wax, which forms a barrier between the filler and the air in order for it to cure completely.
Okay, I just did the first layer of filler above the waterline here in structural putty. So we could have just used some of the lighter fairing stuff, but just wanted this to be really strong. So the structural putty has got fiberglass inside of it. And now it's dried rock solid. If you don't put that wax in, it won't fully cure until something else goes on top of it. So that's just the first layer of filler. So we'll just sand this back now, and then we'll use the lighter stuff, the fairing compound. So these are the two spots we filled the other day that you saw. So this will just get a buzz with the orbital now, and that'll be ready for barrier coat. So it feels like we're actually starting to make some progress now.
So a couple of weeks ago, I asked you guys whether you'd like to see a more raw and unedited version of us doing some fiberglass work, and you responded with an overwhelming yes. So that's exactly what we're going to do next week. We're going to hit record on 3 different camera angles and just go to town on one of the most challenging sections of fiberglass in one take.
We're racing the clock right now. It's pretty hot. You can see all the sweat.
So tune in next Sunday to see how stressful glassing overhead really can be. Cheers, guys.
Okay, we've ended up a little bit short on that one piece. I'm going to just cut a 100mm strip. Just going to lay it in there right now before the big piece goes on.